Humdrum is primarily about these two guys, played by myself and Shay, who are young guys that have kind of been left behind in some way. They haven't gone off and embarked on exciting lives. They aren't people that have gone to uni. They don't have exciting jobs that they enjoy. They haven't left the town that they were from. And I think that's a kind of perhaps surprising amount of people kind of find themselves in that position, and feel the people, especially my character, who feel prematurely jaded and cynical because their lives haven't taken off in the way that they might have hoped, and they're bored. Basically, they live boring, humdrum lives until obviously something comes along which changes all that, and suddenly they find themselves in a situation they would never have expected, and it's a case of be careful what you wish for. The idea of Humdrum came about because we had been making various skits and sketches, and we'd made this thing called Greenhorn, which was kind of like a sketch comedy web series with a vague storyline going through it, and we made I think 7 episodes of that and really enjoyed making them. And then I sort of thought, what next? And I knew I wanted to make something with more of a storyline, with that sort of more character based, but still wanted it to be funny and weird, and kind of try and get our sense of humour across while also being more story driven and not just weird silliness happening, or at least not too much. And also just to be more ambitious, better quality, invested in some new equipment, and just try and push ourselves and see what we could come up with. I'm lucky enough to know some creative, talented people, and I sort of put them to good use, I hope, and kind of got them to contribute and work on the project. I think I'm influenced by mostly writers and directors, a lot of people that both write and direct their own stuff, or at least direct some episodes. So people like Vince Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad, Dan Harmon, who created Community, Rob McElhenney, who created It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Steve Coogan, who created Alan Partridge, a lot of the British comedy stuff, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, who created The Office, Stuart Lee, Charlie Brooker, Chris Morris, Armando Iannucci. A lot of things that's a really strong vision that you kind of think is the sort of thing that could only have come from that person. It's normally a sense of humour that you can kind of get across from it, even in what's mostly serious dramas. I think they need to have a sense of humour as well, and I think that's the thing that I kind of really respond to. If something can make you laugh, then it's kind of really got you on its side, and then I think it's then much easier to become invested in its story and its characters. I think the early Breaking Bad episodes are definitely an influence on Humdrum, with their vibe of amateur criminals, people becoming involved in the world of crime who don't really know what they're doing. I think there's a good playground for comedy and for strange and interesting things to happen in that. I think you could argue that it got bigger and better as it went along and became more of an epic drama, but I'll always have a special affinity for the early episodes, which weren't as epic but had a more of a dark comedy vibe to it, which I think is the thing that originally won me round and made me a huge fan, ever since the episode where the guts fall through the ceiling. And it was just such a perfect moment of something, it was kind of something that existed on the knife edge between something that was really disgusting and disturbing and horrible, but also darkly funny as well. And I think that's pretty much the sweet spot. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a huge influence. its influence on Humdrum is probably in how the characters talk to each other, because in It's Always Sunny, the characters, when they talk to each other, it feels very natural, and even if they're saying these absurd things, it always just feels like friends just chatting, and that's what I wanted it to feel like in Humdrum. So nothing was overly kind of rehearsed or too heavily scripted. I think that another influence would be Peep Show, in terms of the character dynamics, because I think my character is probably quite like Mark from Peep Show, and Shay's character is the Jeremy. We have decided that we're going to make more episodes of Humdrum, as we got some really good feedback from the first one, which was nice. As it goes along, there's quite a step up in how ambitious and the kind of scale of the episodes. There would be new characters, new locations. I think it would generally get bigger and better and darker and funnier and weirder. Hopefully really cool stuff would be in it, and I think it would leave you both amused and disturbed and perhaps quite aroused as well.